All right, welcome to episode 22 of the Rainier Strength Pod. I am here with IPF bench press medalist Adam Mamola. Adam has a plethora of experience, with his first meet being all the way back in 1997. To say he is experienced is an understatement. A medalist at the IPF, also a top placement at the USAPL. Very experienced individual I'm chatting with here, and my personal favorite lift, the bench press. So we're gonna hop into it here. Adam, how you doing, my man?
Good, man. Good. Doing real good.
Right on, dude. So it looks like your most recent meet here was on the 9th of January 2026. Looks like you have a 556 single ply. Tell me how that went.
That's not very good. Not my books, but yeah, I've done more back in the day at 181 than that. But yeah, it was just to get on the national team, I needed to hit a somewhat decent number. So these shirts, I know you're figuring these shirts out, like these single plies. You can't just jump in this single ply and do just some of the shirts I wear, they're tight, so I'm gonna have to open big. When I get to Europe and stuff, I typically do open big because competition is just so hard, so you can't waste lifts. But in the United States now, the single ply is just not, it's just not as popular as it used to be. But luckily, I've seen a little change, so it looks like it's starting to get a little more popular than it has been the last 5, 6, 7 years. At the national level, it's still not a ton of great lifters, to be honest. In the U.S., it's Europe and Japan and Asia, all these places, it's tough to still get on a team. But back in the day, you had to hit, back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, you had to hit a decent number at nationals, and you had to win first place basically to get on team, because only a certain amount of people make the team, so many slots to make the team. So basically, what I did was I just got a stupid loose shirt. I mean, it was like a size. My buddies, Jake, I used to lift with, it was like a 52, and I wear typically 44, 46. But I've never worn like a 52. So it was just something simple to touch, and it was easy, of course, like it should be. And then I jumped to let's see, the guy actually on the handoff. It's a young boy. On the first lift, he said, "Do you want a soft or a hard handoff?" I'm like, I've never heard that. Hard, I'm thinking he's going to throw it on top of me, like he let it go quick. So I said soft. So the first lift was light, so no problem. But then I jumped from that to 310. 683. So I went from 552 to 683, which is very doable. I've done that multiple times. So it's a big jump. I think it caught him off guard, and the soft and hard lift off, like I said, that was all new for me. I guess it's a younger raw thing. But yeah, he couldn't handle it, to be honest. The 310 to 683, he just couldn't handle it on the second lift. And basically you only have a minute, Powerlifting American IPF. You got 1 minute from when the bar is loaded to start the lift. So my main goal there, I've done made a lift. The 310 wasn't really lifted off to me, and I was just struggling with the bar. And I got up because I couldn't stabilize the bar. I had like 10 seconds left, so I had like 10 seconds to get back down, set up, and get the start command. And I could have done it, but it's like, nah, that's not what I come here for. So the main part of it was to get a lift in, which I did, and then go for the national record, which was like 324, 325, so over 700 pounds. So I just passed basically on my second one. I just got up and walked off and saved it for my last lift. I didn't know if he was going to be able to hand that last lift off to me or not, but my coach talked it over with him, and it was just, like I said, it was that soft handoff or a hard handoff. Soft, by soft, he meant that he was expecting me to handle most of the weight, 700 pounds. Basically almost 700 pounds. Hard, he meant by he would handle most of the weight. So it was just communication. He was a stand-up dude. I mean, young dude. He came up and talked to me before the lift, that last lift. And it was great handoff. The last one was perfect. I mean, it was on me. I just didn't quite get it. I've been jumping around in weight, my body weight and stuff, and that's definitely a doable weight. I've done that at 93, actually. I've hit 330 at 93 in IPF. So it was a doable weight. I was actually weighing heavy that day, but it's quick lifting. It just wasn't meant to be. But I'm on the team, and we should be going to Poland in May, and that was the main goal. I just I'll be in the open class at I'm 48 years old. So yes, I love competition. I still like 48. People don't typically lift in the open class at 48. It's actually what you call a master one, almost masters two. Next year, be masters two category, so it would be a whole different level. But yeah, I choose to compete open. But basically, that's how that went down. I can't remember the last time I won a meet with 552. That's just how it went, though. I was happy to get a lift in, but yeah, it's definitely not a number I'm happy about. But actually, to get a lift in equipment sometimes it's not easy. I'm sure you've kind of dealt with it lately with getting in that single ply. Just it's a whole different ball game. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much how that went down. Like I said, I made the team. Second lift was just a communication handoff thing, and the third one was just on me. I just missed it. I think I had one arm locked out, but it was just missed it a lockout. But yeah, that's how that went down
Right.
pretty much. Just to say, like when I go to Europe and stuff, I have to do. I mean, I'll open definitely. I'll bring it. I'll be in a good shirt, and depends if I'm in 105 kg class or a 93. But I have to bring. I have to hit 310, 320, 330. To place. It's tight. A lot of lifters, you have to pretty much bring your A game if you don't want to get embarrassed,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I was gonna ask too, what prompted that increase in body weight from 205 to like the 231 class, or as you weighed in at 221?
Yeah, yeah. The last 2 years, actually, I've chased that record in the 105s because I've held it in the 83 class back in 2011. I broke the 83 class, and I held it. I did that at an 83 class. I did 624 83 class, and then I did at 93. I've held it 6 different times in 93 up to I think 325 kilograms, something like that. I've held it 6 times in the 93. Um,
There we go. Okay.
yeah, I don't know if you heard me. I think it was I was talking about the 83 class. I've held the all-time
Yeah.
record 83. In 93 class, I've held it 6 different times in the 93. So I was like, well, after you're in the game for like 30 years, you got to find stuff that like motivates you to train, like train to be your best at 48 years old. I mean, it's just hard to find stuff. So I look for stuff, and I'm like, well, it'd be cool to. Not many of the greats have held it in 3 different classes. The last 2 years, I've chased that record at 105. I went to Costa Rica not this October, last October. I, I just threw a couple of Hail Marys at it. I thought it was possible. Actually, things didn't go as planned. And this year, I came super close to it and missed it again in October in Panama. So my body weight was up. And that was October, late October. So I was like, well, I just kind of hang on that body weight. I just like at nationals, like, man, I'm going to Vegas. I just want to chill out and eat and have fun. And that's why I went and stayed at 105. But to be honest, I'm still pretty strong at 105. I think I'm getting a little sluggish. I think GPP is kind of getting kind of sluggish. So I might go 93 at Poland. But either way, I'm getting a little better shape. But that's how that happened, pretty much. Just chasing the record.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about your meet in the IPF 2025? It looks like you were in Norway. Tell me about that experience competing outside the U.S. because you're no stranger to competing globally. I mean, you've competed in Japan, Lithuania, South Africa, Denmark, Sweden, and it looks like the most recent being Panama, Norway. So tell me about those like international competitions, how they vary from competitions here in the States.
Oh man, that's just it's the reason why I do it. To be honest, it's at that IPF level. I mean, there's a lot of great lifters in the U.S. raw and equipped, and all these different organizations, and I don't have any problem with different organizations. It's a great sport. I lift with people that's lifting with all different organizations, but really when it's the real deal. Like I mean, I've been drug tested a ton. The equipment, there's a standard on equipment. It's pretty much always stays the same. There's as far as the lifting equipment. I mean, there's some hoops you definitely got to jump through. But I'm just so competitive. It's just like it's single ply bench pressing. It's drug free. I mean, that's where your competition is. If you're good enough, I love going over there. I have a lot of the diversity in the cultures and stuff. You get to meet people. I think my first team was 2008, Czech Republic, and my last one was Norway in 2025. But I have Japan in there. I have Czech Republic a couple of times, South Africa, and yes, been all over the place. Yeah, it's cool. Like my wife's been a couple of times with me. She went to Austria. I went to South Africa with me. So it's a business trip, but it also, as you get older, involved in it, you try to take it all in. So it's really cool. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, you get to meet a lot of great people from different countries, and you get to lift against some of the greats. Sometimes we don't realize there's a lot of great lifters out there. A lot of great ones in the U.S. A whole lot of great lifters when you talk about single ply in Russia, Ukraine, Japan, Germany, Kazakhstan. It's those dudes are real legit, just tough. I mean, they're tough to beat. You have to bring your A game, and it's just great to medal. You know, you've done something when you medaled over there. But yeah, I've traveled multiple times with Dad over there. I mean, it's been it's been awesome to travel with your dad. I think Dad's been over there probably 9 or 10 times with me over in like Europe and South Africa and Japan. I was able to take my son. Man, you can't. It's hard to beat. You know, you get to lift against the best and get to go all these neat places with your family that support you all the time. So it's not just the lifting; it's just the whole thing. It's pretty awesome.
Now, for you coming up, was the IPF always kind of the goal, or was it a byproduct of how strong you ended up getting? Like, you got to a certain level and then the IPF was kind of on your radar, or was it always like, okay, I'm going to get there and here's how I'm going to get there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of us, we just start like whatever organization's close. You know, I mean, I started back when like the big dudes. I mean, what's cool about about your stuff is you look back at some of these old guys, and it caught my eye, like Anthony Clark and like Jamie Harris. That's who was big when I started. Like not even Mendelson and Kennelly and those guys. It was actually before them when I started. It was Jamie Harris and Clark. So I looked up to those lifters for because they was legit. They was it back then. Ken Lane and those guys like that. But that was always in USAPL because that was what was local. Like John Shiflett, Will Morris, and William Thacker, they put on all the local USAPL meets. So that's kind of just why I did it. And then, once I got to USAPL and did the local meets, I originally started in high school, did like this high school circuit we had. It wasn't sanctioned or nothing. It was just a little circuit we did against local schools. And we did like one meet a year. And we didn't have like wrestling or nothing in our school. We just had like baseball and football and basketball, the regular sports. We went to a small school. And I was pretty shy in school and stuff like that. I was pretty strong. Got into lifting because of football. I was fast. I could jump. I was a pretty big athlete for a small school. But I was just small. Me and my mom's like 5 foot, 100 pounds maybe. My dad's like 5'10", 100, probably 160 pounds back then. So, I was just small. So I just started lifting for like football and baseball. I was really good at both of them. And then we had the local, like I said, we didn't really have any individual sports. We had the local powerlifting thing they did each year, mainly just football players and stuff. But like my brother like kept on me. Like, I mean, I was shy. I didn't want to lift, to be honest. I just want to lift for football and baseball. I didn't want to get out in front of people in a singlet and all that stuff. They kept pushing me to do it and pushing me. Finally, it's like, all right, I'll do it. Man, once that happened, it was like, I love this sport. Like, it's on me. It's on me how good I want to be. And I knew how competitive I was. Even at a young age, I was really competitive. But then once I did those local high school meets, like I said, those guys were holding each USAPL meets within 30, 45 minutes from my house. And back then I was looking at like powerlifting USA magazine. The entry fee was like $30, and it's and it was like you mailed your entry in. I mean, that's how long I've been lifting. I've been lifting for a while. So yeah, that introduced me to USAPL, and at that point, I just did all these local meets, and that was like actually it says 97, but I actually started in 95. I was lifting at 95 doing local meets. So I started doing them. So then I started recognizing, um, the drug-free bench pressers. I did full meat back then a little bit, but was bench press and deadlift were typically my favorite lifts. But yeah, I started recognizing the IPF, the guys lifting the IPF, and because I was associated with USEPL, that's basically what got me going. I mean, for the first 10 years, I mean, I loved being that big, wasn't really big fish yet in that small pond yet, but I was winning, these local competitions and getting these big trophies. And I was so young, I guess. And I never did a nationals. I never did the USAPL nationals until 2006. I was actually 10, 11 years in already, and I hadn't even done a bench nationals yet. One thing was, money and travel. Just wasn't traveling much when I was that young. I was in Charlotte, so it's like I don't have no excuse. And I could see, like in the magazines, how far we're going back. They used to have a top 100. And I could see where I was, like on the bench. And most people won't know his name, like Dennis Cherry, Mike Carr. He had Dave Doan, all these people, really good lifters. But I knew where I was, like in my weight class, and I was like fifth or sixth in the nation, out in the top 100. And I was like, well, I need to go and compete. So I was an eye opener because I got to be around some really good lifters, like Lance Kirchner and Danny Thurman. I think they finished 1-2 at that meet. Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm not as good as I thought I was, so I that meet, I actually bombed out. I bombed out at that meet, but I got to see Mike Kerr, Dennis Cherry, Tim Anderson, Dave Doan, all the people that I recognized in the book. I knew all these names, I just couldn't put a face with them. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, I bombed out. Actually, I dumped the weight twice my first two lifts. I think if I would have got that lift in, it was only like 470 at one. I think it's 181 at that meet. I might have got like fourth or fifth, but after two lifts, they basically said, "Nah, you're unsafe. You can't lift anymore." So I didn't get a third lift back then. So that's how I opened up at a national level. Not very good. So I told my wife after that meet, it's like, man, I'm tired of being 470, 460 range. I've been at that range for a while. I've been in the sport for like I said, 11 years already. And after the meet, I'd heard of Coach Bill Gillespie being at Liberty.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, he's the closest one to me. I lived, about an hour and a half from him. And I told her, I said, I'm either going to retire or get better. At that point, it was like I was going at a crossroads, and I said, I know of a guy that could possibly help me, but it's an hour and a half away. And my wife's been a rock. I mean, she's been like from day one. I mean, it takes a team, especially when you're traveling like I do. The hours I put in at work, the hours I put in here in the basement. So she was on board me going an hour and a half on my days off down the road, training for 2 or 3 hours, and another hour and a half home. I mean, you got 6 or 7 hours in, on your day off, and you work swing shift. But I made that move down there to coach, and man, that first 2 years were just amazing. It was like I was getting drug tested all the time because I went down there first day trained with him. It was I held my own in the bench with most of those guys that day, but then we did accessory work like back work, and I'm like, oh my, these dudes work out. I thought, I never had anyone to train me. I just basically looked in Powerlifting USA and just followed programs, but then just done when I just winged it pretty much. I mean, it done pretty well. I mean, I got up to back then 475 and at 181 basically at Titan Fury. So it's pretty well. Like I said, it's probably like fifth ranked in the nation. But once I got the coach, I told him I wanted to bench 500 at 181, and he kept telling me years later. I mean, he said he laughed like after the first training session we had. He knew I was a 600 plus bencher at probably 181, which hadn't been done in the U.S. at that point by a drug-free single-ply lifter. But he knew right off the bat if I stuck with him and did what he told me to do. Yeah, in the first meet, it was like wasn't long. I was hitting 550. I mean, within a year and a half, I was up to like 550 already. I think mainly this assistant work. They did so much more assistant work than I ever did. In my age was, I was getting in, the age range where I was getting, peak, not so much peak strength, but starting to gain a lot of strength. So it was it was pretty neat. It was a pretty wild ride. That was in the following year in Denver. I won nationals. So I bombed out 2006, and I come back and won nationals in 2007 in Denver, Colorado. I won it, and then from that point on, it was a crazy ride. And I stuck in the 183, 181, 183 when the weight classes changed. I stuck there till 2011. He was right. The 600 did follow it. The first one in the U.S. ever to bench 600 drug free and single ply. So I was first to do that. Actually being tested and all that good stuff. I don't know if anyone else has done it. And there's actually only been one other guy I know in after the fact that's done it. Over 600 in single ply, drug tested it. So that was pretty cool. So he's right about that. Then actually, a couple years ago, I went back down to 183. I lost like 40 couple pounds, and I did it again. Actually, went down and hit, I think, right at 600. It was 600 even, I think. So that was cool to go back down years and years later and hit it again. So yeah, Coach Bill, I just owe a lot to him. That guy's been in my corner for a long time. Like most all of my programs I do is most all his stuff and a little bit of my stuff mixed in. All the places I've been, all things I've done, yeah, I put in the work. But, I got a guy behind me that's got so much knowledge, and I just put in the work, and it works. I mean, it just works. You just got to do it. It's not easy, but it's been fun. But yeah, that's kind of how I met him, how I rised up, and once I got to a certain level, USAPL was affiliated. Well, USPF originally was affiliated in USAPL / ADFPA was associated with the IPF, and once I got to a certain level, I think was early on. I think I was in like Ohio lifting at a local meet, and I hit like 550. And the same weekend, they was lifting somewhere in Europe, and I basically did what they did. They was like around 550 over in Europe, and that's what won it that year. And then I was like, man, I'm at that level. At this point, I'm not there yet, but I knew I was at that level. And I think like in Cleveland, I think Larry Miller, I mean, it's an old time lifter, great lifter, IPF lifter. He was there in Cleveland at that meet with me, and he recognized me, and he told me, what level I was on. I was like, man, that's pretty awesome to have someone, a legend like that. I think we got so many organizations in the U.S. that some of them guys, people don't know those names, but like if you're in like USAPL or been in it for a while, you respect, certain people, just like any organization, you respect the top dogs, So to get respect from guys like him at that meet, were like, it's pretty neat because a couple years before that, I was basically unknown, and once I got with Coach Bill, it was within a year or two, I was ready to roll at that level, and that was 2008. I won my first international medal. Actually, went over to the Czech Republic that year after I won nationals in Denver, and I actually got like a 20-pound PR over in Czech Republic at 81, 181s back then. Daiki Kadoma, if you don't know his name, then I mean he is like a legend in bench pressing. I don't know if you heard of him before, Daiki Kadoma. He's like a
Briefly.
yeah. Check him out one time. He's something else. I was actually ahead of him just to be ahead of him at one point is pretty awesome. He's like a 20-time IPF champion at least, and benches like I think 230. I think 230 raw, 230 kilograms raw at 83. I think actually it might be more than that now. 233, something like that, raw at 83. And he's hit 300. I think he was at 74 when he hit 300 kilograms in a single ply shirt. Yeah, that's just unreal. But yeah, I was actually ahead of him for a short period of time. He ended up winning on his last lift, so I ended up getting third at my first IPF Open. It's an opener. It's a dogfight, like a straight up dogfight. It comes down to the last lift typically, placing wise. Actually, I tied with another U.S. lifter, Danny Thurman, who was really great lifter, and I actually beat him on body weight. We both hit like 573 at 181. That was 2008. I got my medal last year at Norway, 2025. So it's been a pretty good span. All in open class. The best of the best, typically. Like I said, it's kind of fallen off a little bit in the U.S. as far as the the nationals used to be pretty tough to win nationals. I'm not saying just the amount of lifters, the quality of lifters, it's not there as it used to be, but it's still some definitely some quality lifters. But I really find my competition overseas quite a bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
I rolled in 181 till I broke the record in Atlantic City. The idea how those shirts work is like I bombed out in 2010 in Austria. I think it was 10 in Austria in like June or July at 181 with 573. I think it's 573. And I've been fighting the weight, trying to stay down 181. It did, I'd get up to about 190. I just won that record so bad, and I was favored to win Austria there. But travel's hard on you. I mean, it's definitely hard. It's hard to hit a top lift when you travel that far. Yeah, so I missed 573 over in Austria 3 times, which would have won the meet. I just kind of opened too heavy. But I'd hit 595 at that point locally, how much I was off. But I came back in late August in Atlantic City, and that's when I finally hit 600. 2 months later, it's just I threw a different shirt on. Strength level is pretty much the same. The travel just killed me, and to go to Austria, then that was my last meet at until I lost weight the other year for that one meet. 2 meets I did a couple years ago at 181. But yeah, 2011 was pretty much it for 181 for a good while. I mean, I moved up to 93, and people thought I was nuts because, like Dennis Cherry and some of those guys. But I knew I'd been fighting body weight for years, trying to stay in the 181s, and I couldn't wait to get to 93 or 198 at the time. So yeah, first meet, boom, big PR. Next meet, and it just started rolling again. Body weight and benching just typically goes together pretty well. But then, 93, I think I broke that record, the open record, 6 times over the years. And definitely ran in some real tough competition. I was able to, win the open class twice at Sweden 2015. I won the championship. 23 in South Africa. I won the championship. And all the other medals were I've got 10 medals, not bragging or nothing like that, but it's the most by any U.S. lifter ever. Bronze. I got silver and a couple golds. I wish I had a couple more golds, but it's been some dogfights. It's just tough. I mean, you got Russia, Ukraine, and Japan, and those guys. And every once in a while, someone will come along. It's just tough to beat. I had a good guy in Russia, actually. They're kind of offish. The Russian people are when you meet them, but it's pretty cool though to see, like, over the years, like Dad would go with me, and they just kind of just give you a blank look, when they walk past you. But me and this Russian battled it out, Eduardo Tabinkov, and we become like, kind of rivals. I beat him the first year, then it wasn't much of a rivalry. He got to be just a little better. He was hitting 330 and 335, and I was on a good day in the United States, I might hit 330, but I wasn't in the United States. I was traveling, so I was a 320, 315 to 322 bencher. When I travel overseas, I just so he'd beat me quite a few years, and I'd get second to him. Then you had the Ukrainians would be right there on me. Then it's just, but we battled so much between each other, like he become like a big fan of mine. Like, he respected me, I guess, because I was a good bit older than him. Once the Russian team seemed like the respect between me and him, like, he didn't talk much English and I didn't either, as far as Russian, so I didn't talk. So it's kind of hard, but you can actually feel the respect. You don't have to actually speak the language, but like, they started like nodding at my dad because my dad was always over there with me a lot. They respected him. Like, they started, like, when they walked past us, they would nod and just recognize us. And that's a big deal coming from like Russian athletes. So just cool little stories like that. Daiki Kodama from Japan, I can just feel the respect from someone he's the best single ply bencher ever in my book, and it's not really even that close. Personally, I don't think, but just a great lifter. But if you get a chance, check him out. on YouTube. But yeah, I can feel the respect from those guys, and really, at the end of the day, when I get respect from them, like here in the U.S., like Jonah Leo and Blaine Sumner, I sent him something the other week. I said, Blaine, like, I want to, what you got for me? Like, he said, what do you mean I should be getting stuff from you? He's saying I should be getting stuff from you. I'm like, man, that's a ton of that means a lot, coming from those dudes. But yeah, I feel respect from them. I'm a pretty quiet guy. I don't really say much. I let my just kind of lay back, and it's my first podcast. I just kind of do my thing, and but when I get respect from those guys, that's pretty much I'm good. Once they respect, those guys like that respect me, and I respect all of them big time. But yeah, so yeah, basically I went from '93 all the way up to last couple of years I played around with 105 class for a little bit, but I feel that ideally I fit pretty good at around at 205 weight class, but I am getting a little age to me at some point. I'm going to drop down to probably 181 again. Feel weak. So on the bench, it's just tough it sucks to lose that weight, and give those leverages up. A lot of times it's more so leveraging this strength wise, all those leverages you're giving up. But at some point, when you age, when you're 48, you need to start looking at possibly getting a little better shape. I always was athletic before I started benching big weights, but yeah, I think next few years maybe go down to 181. We'll see what happens.
And something else that I'm really interested in always is there's a lot of pressure today from social media. You're getting bombarded by a lot of things. One of those things is PEDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you turn, there's a new TRT clinic, there's a new influencer pumping this drug stack and all this kind of stuff. So for you, was it always a conscious choice to stay drug free, or was it just something where it was like, look, I'm still getting stronger, I don't feel like I need this, and I want to be in the IPF, which means I need to play by the rules? So how does that work from you from a psychological aspect of staying drug free and doing it for so long?
Yeah, to be honest, I never really think about doing drugs. I guess because like I said, I've always found a way to actually been harder, the last few years, but I've stayed the course where I can keep my strength. Most of my years, I was gaining a little bit of strength, for the longest time. Coach Bill would work with, the programming and stuff, and we'd figure things out and tweak the shirts. And that's the good thing about equip lifting. It's like Coach Bill said, not, the strongest guy don't always win. It's, you can tweak those shirts and get them. So you can always tweak those shirts, which is cool. You're basically what you are. Ain't a whole lot you can do. Yeah, my base strength now is just I'm pretty much not quite as good as it used to be, and it just takes me longer to get up to that strength level. So it is hard to get there, but I love the aspect of trying to figure it out. I love the programming and trying to figure it out, and that's the reward, is trying to figure it out. Not saying that people on drugs don't work hard or nothing like that, but I've been in the game 30 years. Like, I've been doing this for 30 years. And I see a lot of guys flash in the pan, and that's fine. If that's what they want to do, I don't have a problem with it personally. But yeah, I got a family, and this is important to me. But as you age, it's like, at the end of the day, how important is bench press and heavyweight in your life? Is it really? It is at your age, probably, and at my age, it was like, but now, once you live long enough, it's still really important. I want to win, but at the end of the day, it's, I got a family, wife, and kids. They're growing up and stuff. Still, I just like figuring it out. To be honest, it's hard, but once you hit that big weight, it's such a rewarding feeling, because you worked hard for it. Not saying that other people don't, but I put a lot of time in the gym trying to figure stuff out. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it don't work so great. Especially when you're high level, you can't afford to be off too much. Yeah, really, to be honest, yeah, never really wanted to do it. I always, it was, like I said, locally, the organization was USAPL, so I've been in USAPL since I was probably 16 years old. I'm 48 now, so and like I said, I've been to IPF. I believe in. I always say I'm not just drug tested. I'm drug free. Like I am like drug free because you know, you can be drug tested and whatever. Some people know this and that about it, but I'm tested and drug free. Like I just, it's, like I said, it's just never crossed my mind to even do it. It's funny, like you say though, man. Like I'm walking around 48, feeling pretty good about myself, being, you know, pretty good shape, built and stuff. But now you go out to stores and stuff, and all these dudes are 50, 55, 60 years old, and they're all built. Back in the day, I would have, you know, stood out being like, oh, look at him, you know. But now I just like, I look normal, but I don't have that bright red face or nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, to each their own. I don't have, you know, do what you want to do. Just stay in your lane. I definitely don't have respect for people to come over and try to, you know, be on drugs and, you know, compete in like the IPF and stuff. I mean, just stay in your lane and do your thing. I mean, uh, that's all I can say about that. We're all a big
Yeah.
family though, powerlifting, so it's great. I've got a lot of friends in a lot of different organizations, and I get it why they're not in the IPF. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm just really super competitive, and I'll seek competition, the best competition I can find. And single ply, mentioned drug free. It's in Europe and Asia. I mean, I'll seek that and find it. Like that's who I am. That's why I, when USAPL and the IPF split. I mean, I've been with USAPL for at that point what 20 plus years. You know, I left some good friends behind. You know, that stayed at USAPL. Now I'm in Powerlifting America, and I'll be honest, it wasn't that hard a decision. Like I miss them. You know, like Donovan Thompson used to be he used to be the team coach. Tim Anderson, Jennifer Thompson's husband, so he used to be the team coach, and he handled me at all of my big meets. It's family, you know. Once you travel like that, a lot of U.S. lifters were the same lifters for decade or more, and you're traveling to Europe and Asia, South Africa together as a family. It's hard. It was hard. I mean, it was hard in that aspect, but at my age and what I was searching for as far as the competition, it wasn't hard. I mean, I left and went to Powerlift America, and because that was the way to the IPF. Yeah, that's always what I want to do. Uh, just compete against the best. Like I said, I've been around a lot of guys that like to have fun and just see what they can throw up, you know, as far as the bench. And the best way to do that is do a local meet, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to travel. And cost wise is another thing. You know, IPF it is expensive, like to travel and stuff like that, and entry fees and the doping fees and all that stuff. So it's definitely not cheap. So got a ton of support from my family, you know, to allow me to do this sport at this high level because it does add. I mean, it's a cost, time consuming. It uses vacation time and etc. You know, my wife Michelle don't always go, and of course she's only been two or three times overseas with me. The other times it's been my dad's, you know, which is great, like awesome, like I said. But that does use vacation time away from the family and stuff. They've been so supportive. Yeah, it's a pressure cooker when you're over there. When you're using vacation time, put all that time in, put all that money into it, and you know it's a lot of pressure on you to perform. So I actually like that part in some ways. You know, I like that pressure. You know, I could go out here, local meet, and it'd be fun. I could throw on whatever weight I want to throw on, and don't have not a whole lot of consequences other than, you know, a little bit of travel time and a little bit of money. But and one day I might get back to that. I might I might revert back to the old days. It's kind of just do local meets, but at this point, I just want to travel and compete against the best for the time being. I mean, I don't know how much time I have left. I'm 48, so still trying to compete in the open class. It's getting hard to hold on. You know, I'm competing against. I've been actually lifting longer than most of the guys I'm lifting against. You know, I'm lifting against 25-year-olds. You know, I've been lifting for 30 years, competing for 30 years. So yes, it's crazy just to think about it. You know, at this point, I think I can still last at least this year. It just get to be mentally sometimes too. Mentally, it's hard sometimes to keep that striving. Lately, it's been cool, real cool. So I lift over here behind me, actually, in my basement, 90% of the time by myself. And I did that for years, which is fine. I gotten used to it. I mean, I love the sport. I love the process of trying to get stronger. And when I needed to handle the big weights, I would go down Lynchburg, which is about an hour and a half from me, and train with Coach Bill. Then once Coach Bill retired, Lucas Pribble, another great lifter from basically Coach Bill's stable, I call it. He's got a couple great guys. Anyone I've ever met around, like associated with Coach Bill, have been like stand-up quality dudes, and that's another thing. I'm blessed to have met Coach, and not just the lifting part, but the people I've met. And like Lucas has helped me. He lives down Lynchburg, and he's helped me a ton. He's been real flexible with his schedule. Anyhow, I'd travel down there after Coach Bill retired. Anytime I want to do some heavy lifting, I would travel down about an hour and a half. But then lately, my family members have gotten the boys in the family's actually gotten old enough where they can start helping me now. So that's been cool. Then we got Duncan Hunley. I'm sure Duncan, he was on he's been coming down, and Lucas came down the other month, and Paul Stein. Paul's been coming down, and my dad's been lifting with us. So it's been pretty odd. It's kind of, I don't know, it's lit a fire into me, kind of just having those guys come down and train with me. It's been pretty cool actually having a group to actually train with instead of by myself, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I can stay in my own house and all that good stuff. They've been coming down. It's been pretty awesome to have that group, because you got like me and Dad. Dad would be called. He's pushing like what you call M4. He's 69. Then you have him. You know, he's on a different level, but he's still been lifting for a good while. And you have me at my level. Then you have Duncan. Those guys are a little younger than us, but it's pretty cool. We're all helping each other out, and it's been cool. But
Yeah.
so they're coming down. I think late February we'll be going in shirts again. I'll be getting ready for Poland in May, and then those guys, I think they have a local meet they're going to do in June, I'm thinking. But yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man, Duncan is a freak. I mean, you want to talk about someone who's just ridiculously strong. Also, just the conversations I've had with him, seems like a great guy to be around. High energy, high octane. I love the energy that he brings, and like, it's crazy because, you know, he flies under the radar a lot of the times, but he is a freak, man.
Yeah.
That guy is so strong, so strong. And I mean, Coach Bill Gillespie, you can't say enough good things about the guy.
Mm-mm.
Phenomenal coach, phenomenal dude, has done amazing things in the sport, and more importantly, outside of the sport as well. He's affected a lot of lives in a very positive way, which makes the entire sport go round. You know, it really is the people that make the sport develop and just get better over time. With that, I know when I was like in my early 20s, I'm 33 now. So, but when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, it's just max out and fucking, you know, just go crazy all the time.
Yeah.
And like nothing mattered. I didn't have to warm up. I didn't have to fucking do nothing.
Yeah.
And now the training is changing now. I have to do, like, you know, I've had a few injuries. I got to do mobility work, all this kind of stuff as well. So how has your training changed as someone who has been literally competing since they were a teenager all the way up until pushing the age of 50? Your training has had to change a lot, and how has it changed in what ways?
Yeah, I'm kind of like you, man. I could be, you name a meet back in the day. I could show up this weekend. You know, any weekend out of the year, I was strong. Coach Bill, I mean, basically once I got with him, we was pretty much strong throughout the whole year. They would lift Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, my silly schedule, my 12-hour swing shift schedule, I wouldn't like it. And Coach Bill, we'd go heavy so they would go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. A lot of that was heavy work. Like, it was just heavy work. And that's what they did, and it worked. So I did the same program, but my work schedule, I might be lifting Monday, Tuesday, back-to-back heavy days, benching both days heavy. And I think your body adapts. I mean, everyone says that you need to do this or that, but you look at these people work factory work. I mean, you got these older ladies flipping, 50-pound boxes all day. They do it every day, like, and they can do it. You know, it's like, I think your body, I know you need rest, but I did that for years. I mean, I did coach's program. What they was doing on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I would do like I might do a Monday, Tuesday, then like a Friday or a Saturday. Then I would come back. I would do back-to-back days a lot of times, heavy, max effort work on one day and heavy raw one day. Didn't do a whole lot of shirts down here, but I might do one day shirt down at Coach Bill's, and I might come back the next day and do some max effort work. Just unheard of stuff you don't do. But it worked. It worked. It worked for me. My body adapted. When you work 12-hour shifts and you live 45 minutes away from work, you wake up at 5 a.m., you get home at 8. You don't have time to lift those days. You get home at 8 p.m. I don't have time to lift. Usually my workouts are at least 2 to 3 hours long, typically. So over the years, yeah, I think I got away with not doing a lot of warm ups and a lot of stretching and stuff like that. I got away doing that for the longest time. I mean, my workouts are long enough, so I didn't want to do that stuff. I think I tore my labrum right side um, like 2007 or 8, right before I went overseas, actually. It was just a small slap tear in the labrum. But yeah, I bench, and at the top, it felt like it was kind of like, felt good, but at the top, it felt like it was unstable. Like it was hard to hold it, steady. So once I got that injury, I started working a lot of band work, a lot of small muscle work, a lot of hip, and actually, I never had surgery on it. I still haven't had surgery on it. And I've had it since at least 2006. Um, so that point on, I would do that for a while, and when stuff started feeling good, of course, I'm like everyone else, like, oh, I'm not gonna waste time on it. Everything's feeling good, then it would act up. 3 or 4 months later, start acting up. I start doing it again. Just a cycle like that. So yeah, the band work and the stretching stuff over the years. Sometimes I'm real good at it, but if I start feeling good, I kind of uh, lay off of it a little bit until I start hurting again. Pretty much. But
Yeah.
yeah, that changed. Then I went through a spell where I quit doing those back-to-back days. I would just do my 2 days off. I'd always basically have at least one day in between lifting, but all my days are always benching, some sort of benching, and back work and tricep work always. So it went from being back-to-back days to typically my 2 days off. I would lift one day, my next day off. But then it got to the point where that really stretches the program out. Like I don't get 3 days in every week when it's my long weekend to work. So I found I need to give myself like a lot longer period of time because it's not a typical 3 day week. It might be a 2 day week. And I might hit a 3 day. It's more like a 3 day lifting week than a 2 day lifting week, and 3 day lifting week, and two, and so on. But I found like typically like the Japanese and stuff. Like it seems like the more I bench, the better off I am. Like I can't go heavy all the time, but if I had my option, I would throw a couple light days in there and a couple heavy days a week. And I probably, if I could, I would probably bench like 4 times a week if I could, but my work just don't allow it. And a lot of Europeans and Japanese, they do well on the high frequency benching like that. Actually, a lot of the raw dudes now I'm hearing is doing a lot of that stuff drug free, and it seems to work for them. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing now. I make sure I have a break in between those days. I'm going to chiropractor more. I've been trying to find like I see some of these lifters. I live out kind of in the country a little bit, so I'll jump to chiropractor trying to find someone to do some like soft tissue work. Uh, so I found someone I think is going to help a lot. Finally found a chiropractor I think will help me a lot. So I do stuff like that. Always trying to find, that stone's not been turned over. Just took a sleep study test finally, 2 weeks ago. So I always blamed it on, swing shift, which sucks. It does suck. And typically, yeah, my sleep is horrible because I do a month at nights, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Then I do a month of days, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But on your days when you're working nights, you got a family, so you try to switch over to daylight on your days off. It's kind of crazy. So my sleep's never been really good. Recovery, and I work hard. I mean, I work hard in here as far as lifting and stuff. I always have put in time. I always feel like I don't want to be outworked. I don't know if that's always the right thing to do, but it's worked pretty well. I don't like to. I want to have everything, strong, not just the bottom part of the lift, not just the top part. I want to have the total package, pretty much. And um, so I put a lot of time in there, but yeah, my sleep and recovery's never been that good, like it needs to be. So lately, I told my wife, I said I'm gonna take a sleep study just to see, because she's a sound sleeper. So she said, "You really don't snore or nothing like that." I'm like, "Well, all the guys I look around me that look like me, they all have like sleep apnea and stuff like that. All of them. pretty much.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, most of the it's like I need to take it. So yeah, I took the test, and it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't horrible like I've heard some of the guys, but it's definitely probably looking at a CPAP here soon. So I'm excited actually about it. Because man, my sleep sucks. I mean, it's horrible. There's many nights I lay in bed and for 2 or 3 hours just flipping. I mean, just flip. And I'll be sometimes.
Yeah.
I only sleep like 1 or 2 hours at a time. A lot of times, and I'm up flipping around for a couple hours sometimes. And other times I sleep decent. But yeah, I mean, that's for my health, but also for my lifting. To be honest, so I'm
Yeah.
always looking for things like that. I'm not big on like Instagram, like typically doing stuff like this or YouTube but I'm always searching. I am searching it. Like I'm just not on it, but I'm constantly searching some of the greats, and there's so much information out there now. So that's another way I'm trying to get better. I'm just even at my age, I don't take. And I think I learned that from Coach Bill. He was like never satisfied. I mean, he had guys. We was always seemed like everyone was always improving when we left with Coach Bill, but he was always searching to be better. And I think it's rubbed off on me. I'm always still trying to stay relevant. I mean, basically, I mean, at this point, just trying to stay relevant and trying to stay in that open division and kind of try to keep up with those guys. So yeah, constant. It's a constant trying to get better.
Yeah. And as far as leveraging sleep quality is huge, man. Like before I got my sleep hab, I remember I could sleep for 10 hours, fucking 10 and a half, sometimes 11 hours. And I would wake up like I just got 3-4 hours of sleep. I mean, it would be brain fog and fatigue all day and like couldn't figure it out. We got the sleep study, and the CPAP was one of the really pivotal things in my own performance and just quality of life in general. I mean,
Yeah.
holy crap, like sleep apnea is just, it's deprecating. I mean, it really will just erode your quality of life, and then a byproduct of that, your performance. It
Yeah.
is something that is really clinically overlooked in powerlifting or in like fitness in general. You got a lot of really giant bodybuilder dudes have a lot of big necks and things like that,
Yeah.
impeded airways. But yeah, dude, the CPAP is absolutely awesome. I think one thing also that always begs some curiosity for the bench only crowd is the lower body work. You have mentioned that you prefer the deadlift over the squat. Do you still train the lower body? If so, how are you training your lower body versus your upper?
It's that's kind of night and day. It's a lot of upper, but yeah, but there's always lower body in there, but it's not really. I mean, it might be 5 sets of 10 on squat, and that's it. And one day might be 5 sets of 10 on deadlift. Um, then I usually do it 2 times a week, so I throw it in there because it's definitely valuable. But it's always at the end of the program. It's always the last thing I do.
Yeah,
And I'm 2.5, 3 hours in, so it's like, man, I'm about done. I something
yeah,
real simple and quick, but I do get work in. I definitely feel better um, when I do legs.
yeah,
I think it helps. Well, I know it helps. I mean, it's your base, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, probably should spend a little more time on it, but I do throw it in there. It's not like I don't do it. Yeah, I think some people miss out on that a little bit. Don't do legs at all, but yeah, I still do abs.
And another thing too that was interesting about your open powerlifting is the whole line. When you go back to 97, it's all single, 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 but scattered in there, the needle in the haystack, there is a multiply meet in there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a multi. So tell me what happened with that and why it was like, okay, right back to single. What was that
Yeah,
like?
that was down in Roanoke. Actually, that was pretty cool. I don't know exactly why I did it. I think I seen like I said, I kept up with everyone back then. I mean, and Metal Militia was big. You remember them, right? Bill Crawford,
Yep.
Jeff McVicker. Those guys had some crazy stories, but they was multiply, and they was really good at bench pressing, the technique and stuff there. That's probably what, late '90s, 2000s. So I heard Bill was going to be down there in his group, and I probably thought like, oh, this would be cool. I get to lift with these guys. It was single. I was lifting a single ply. I never had a double ply or triple ply, nothing like that. But yeah, I wore single ply. That was cool though. Loud music. I mean, it was like those guys are different though. It was pretty neat. Like I was pretty good at the time, but yeah, it was loud music. Ron Shirley is, Lizard Lick Towing.
Yep.
Yep. He used to. He hung around those guys. Amy Vaughn, his wife. Yeah, she used to be a lifter. I don't know if you know your history as far as way back then, but Amy Vaughn, his wife on Lizard Lick Toe, and she was like a big time lifter. So you had them there.
Had no
Yeah,
idea.
they was just lifting there. They had them there and a couple other because they was part of that metal militia group kind of. So it was really cool. I think I did okay, but yeah, it was a crazy story. Like you can probably look it up and find it on. You know much about Jeff McVicker? I mean, I don't know a ton about him, but I've heard some crazy stories about Jeff. He's a pretty wild dude. But yeah, supposedly, I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
graphic. It's kind of graphic. I was there. He dumped the weight on his stomach, like dumped it hard, and supposedly he did some internal issues. So he went to. I mean, we'll get kind of graphic, but he went to the bathroom supposedly and had to stuff his rectum back up into himself. Yeah, different breed of people. Yeah, I mean, I have some. I have some. I thought was crazy stories, but nothing like that. I passed out and stuff lifting and come back and in where's that Palm Springs, California. I passed out on my. I think I missed my first lift. Yeah, missed her to hit it, and I come back my second lift, and that's the first time I passed out. It was like 2012, and I brought the bar down. Then next thing I know, they was pulling it off my stomach. Like they said, press and everything. I actually got it down, and I passed out at some point. Coach Bill there and the guys were there. They said they was wondering why I didn't press it, because they said press, and I just sat there, and then it started rolling on my stomach, and they kind of thought, and they knew they picked it off. I mean, wasn't a ton of weight, but still it was a good bit of weight. And I woke up and I was like, where am I? It's like, oh, I thought I was just waking up. Like, I never passed out before like that. And it was kind of weird. And I was like, I heard the crowd like cheering. I was like, oh crap, I just passed out on the bench. And I was shook. I'll be honest, mentally, I was kind of shook.
Yeah.
The coach would tell me the story. He got right up in my face real quick because he knew. I mean, coach has been around all these sports, been with the Seahawks and all that high level stuff. But he knew how to talk to me. Like, he could see that I was shook. Like, I was done. I was pretty much, I'm just going to bomb out this nationals. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure I'd missed both lists at that point. And he got up my face and said, you're going to, basically confidence, building that confidence. And sure enough, he talked enough confidence. I had a nerve to go back up on the platform for my third lift. And I just took a real shallow breath this time and just sprung it down. Barely got it, but that's one of my little stories I had. And I actually won nationals that year. And then at the Arnold one year, I've won the Arnold, like the pro bench at the Arnold. I've won like 5 times over the years, which is cool. I mean, I grew up watching Mendelssohn and Kennelly and those guys at the Arnold. So the first time I ever got on that stage was just, it's unreal. It's just kind of, it's amazing, when you're in this sport and you get to be on stage that those guys were on. So I was able to be up on that stage multiple times and actually win it. But one year, it's one of my later years, they had a drape on the back end of the Arnold stage. After you warm up, you come out on that stage and they have like a drape. It's up on a stage. So we had the chairs we sit in. Luckily, the crowd couldn't see us. What happened? But we have chairs on the back end of that stage. Well, that stage didn't have a rail or nothing on it. Didn't have a rail or nothing. Evidently, my chair, when I went to sit down, was hanging. That back foot was right on the edge of falling off the stage. That's what happened. It was right before I lifted. I done warm up, had my shirt on and everything. The stage was up. It was pretty high. I fell into a crate of weights and bars, and I thought I broke my tailbone. But dealing with passing out and stuff years before and other things, traveling all these places and flights and this and that, you recognize stuff happen, and you just have to turn that switch. I got up. I didn't know if I could walk. I hadn't lifted yet. I think at Arnold I went 3 for 3. I went out there. I thought my tailbone was broke. Like I said, I fell a good ways into that crate. Yeah, some stuff people don't know, that's happened, for 30 years of lifting and traveling all these places. The same way as Jeff and stuff like that. Just there's things that happen out there. Build character, make you stronger when stuff happens, because stuff will happen. Guarantee stuff always happens. It don't go as planned. But it was pretty wild to go back. I think I broke a record there at the Arnold that year. And that stuff just, it makes you stronger mentally. all together, and it just makes you grow. I mean, life's the same way. And I think when Coach Bill was talking to you, like people like hard stuff, like, oh, you don't want nothing hard, you don't want nothing hard in your life. Like, yeah, it builds character, and stuff like that happens. And but yeah, anyhow, it's off on a little tangent, but just a couple little things that's happened to me through the years. A lot of people don't know, um, but yeah, anyhow, yeah, that one meet,
Yeah.
that was because Metal Militia was there, and I did my homework on, like, I lifted in the USAPL, but I respected all lifters, and I respected those guys because they was a big deal back then, and they knew how to bench. So I was there to learn something from them, pretty much. But yeah, I did a couple of like NASA meets back in the day and stuff like that. Wasn't all complete USAPL, but mostly, yeah, just single ply. I think that one multi-ply was it. But it was fun. I mean, I wouldn't mind just like I said, when it's all said and done, just to get back and do some like local meets and just have fun. Never really not
Yeah.
against that.
And as far as like the you see it in multiply, there's an abundance of like Inzer pretty much runs the multiply market. I mean, yeah, you got Overkill and some of these other brands, but I mean, as far as like all you see, most of what you see is from Inzer, whether it be like an STP or a Leviathan, things like that. And single ply, likewise with Titan. So Titan pretty much, I mean, if you look at the IPF and you watch the equipped, whether it's full power or just bench only, it's almost exclusively Titan. Because I remember when I was watching some guys, I think it was last year in the equipped, and I remember seeing an Inzer, like a Rage X or something like that. And I remember it stuck out because I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh shit, look at that. Someone's the one person not wearing a katana. Look at that.
yeah.
Why do you think that Titan has such a presence in the single ply market? Is the quality of their gear? Is it because they got in sooner? Like, what is that as someone who has been in the game for so long and probably used a ton of their products?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch it over here and get this phone charged up. Well, one thing like the IPF, all them companies have to pay a certain, and it's not cheap. I know that. So a lot of your single ply is the IPF, right? I mean, that's typically where a lot of that stuff's in the IPF. So you do have an insert in Japan over there. They have a shirt called, I think it's called Oni. Some Japanese are wearing it now. Then you have Titan, but yeah, to be honest, Titans. I mean, I'm sponsored by them, but I mean, I've spent a lot of money to travel and stuff, but I'm gonna wear the best equipment. I mean, sponsored or not, I'm gonna be in Titan. But they have been with me forever, and I think some people do wear the Inter Bolt. There's a few, not many. Then not like I said, the Japanese. Um, they're wearing the Oni or whatever because they can get it so much easier. I mean, they did great in Titan, but I think it was difficult for them to get Titan. I think they ordered in big quantities and adjusted their shirts, tailored their shirts. But yeah, a lot of it's, I think there's only 3 shirts now, brands. It's through the IPF as far as single ply. And yeah, it's just in the qualities. I mean, it's just tough to get it to lift sometimes, but the stopping power of the katana, the super katana, is just unreal. I mean, it can handle some big weights, and a lot of people hit some big numbers. Pretty much the best of the best wear or have worn Titan, and they've been around since back when I started, and before that, I think Pete, who owns Titan, he started his business in his garage. Him, his mom, and his family started in his little garage. But I love Pete and Titan. I mean, they sponsored me since '07, and they're a big part of my success. I got them on my side. This stuff ain't cheap. Travel ain't cheap, and all that stuff is definitely not cheap. To have a sponsorship and equipment is huge, and they've done a lot for me. And I mean, Titan been around since the '80s. I can look back in all the powerlifting USA like magazines. You had like Titan, Marathon, and Inzer. That was pretty much it. So those companies have been around a long time. But yeah, I think it's just the quality material, and those shirts. I mean, I put them through basically hell, and they just they hold up for a while. Back in the day, I mean, I blew out some them old single ply Inzers because when I first started. I think when Titan come out with like the Fury, they started taking over a little bit, because when I put on that Fury first time, I wore Inser before that, but the Fury was definitely better, I thought. than the old Ensor single ply. But then after that, they came out with the regular katana after that, and then the super katana, I think probably in 2009. And that's what's cool about them, to be honest, about the IPF. Like a lot of these, basically like these all-time records, a lot of them's due to equipment, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? The equipment's gotten better. Well, the IPF, you can't really say that because, like I said, they hadn't allowed equipment changes since any major equipment changes since like 2009. So all these records have been bumped up. It's just competitive people learning how to maneuver the shirts or get better training and just figuring stuff out. Like, I mean, I broke the record in 2011 at 183 at 623 at 624. And now it's the 183 record is it's pushing 700 pounds. It's unreal. The 93 record, the first time I broke it was 2012. I think 2012, and it was 664. And I broke it quite a few times after that. But that record is now 800 pounds, 799, and the same equipment. It's just unreal. You're not the same equipment you're wearing, but also the same equipment you're lifting on, which makes a huge difference. I mean, equipment you're lifting on is, I mean, I could throw a soft pad on these benches in here and it's like night and day. You know, that makes a difference too. The height of the bench, all the heights everything's standardized in like the IPF. And it's been like that for a long time. So to improve, you just got to figure those shirts out a little better because you're not getting a new, like they might at some point come out with a shirt they allow, but once some company comes out with a new shirt, they have to go through standards to qualify it through the IPF. So, but yeah, short answer basically is the Titans' quality is just, I think, second to none. Let me put this up a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Titan, the quality of their products, I mean, speaks for themselves, especially, you know, all the top athletes that use their products, both outside and inside the equipment, you know.
Yeah, Pete, I mean, once you get to know those guys too, like, man, they're just great people. Titan, the group he's got,
Yeah.
There's really good people, type of people I like to deal with. But at the end of the day, like I said, they're just the best equipment. I put time and effort in. I'm going to wear the best, and luckily I'm sponsored by the best as far as single ply. It's the way I feel. And evidently most other people feel. Like you said, you look around and it's mainly Titan.
Yep. Now, have you noticed a difference in the equipment that you're lifting on, let's say, versus like benching out of a combo rack, maybe benching with a standard pad versus like a Thompson fat pad, or benching in an actual like Rogue, you know, bench press or a Westside bench press that they have? Have you noticed a difference in switching up, not the powerlifting equipment necessarily, the shirt, but the actual like the bars or what you're actually benching on?
Yeah, I mean, if I throw like Coach, I typically just bench on this pad I have in here, which is an old ER bench, which is similar to what we lift on now. And my power rack right here, I got it set up as, you know, it's a slide-in bench, but it's set up the same height, same pad width and pad depth and all that good stuff. Real strict on that. Like, they're really strict on all that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a difference. Like, I think you've heard like Jimmy Cole talk about IPF and stuff, like, and it's fine, like it, but it's different. Like you said, to lift big on these benches, it's definitely harder. I mean, it's definitely harder. They're lower. The pad's not, you know, it's not as soft. I mean, I typically, if I can get up on my back more and have a better arc, if I have a higher bench and a softer bench, I'm gonna lift more weight. You know, it's a big difference, huge difference. But yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I think most lifters would agree with me on that. Definitely, if you got something you can really, you know, basically get your arc up there better. I know Coach Bill used to put a 2-inch foam pad on his for when he was competing in, you know, different organizations, and you know, I've lift on that. Then we take that pad off, and it's just a regular ER bench. And yeah, I'd feel like a night and day difference. Just that little 2-inch foam pad would make a huge difference.
Yeah. And as far as your training goes, some people live and die by like the Chico, lots of volume, like almost like kind of like a modified Bulgarian system, if you will, with like minimal accessories. If I've also talked to people that do no accessories, people at the high level in the IPF that kind of run straight Chico style programming. But also on the other side of it, you kind of have like the the modifications of the conjugate system with the max effort and the speed work being definitely modified and things like that. So when you perform the bench press, do you have a day where you're using things like bands and chains and blocks and things like that, or are you doing more volume than manipulating the movement itself?
Yeah, of course, I've done a lot of different stuff over the years, but like mainly it's stuff now. I've always been big on assistant stuff, and Coach Bill would come and go on that. I mean, I think he got such a good base after lifting for 40 plus years. He didn't need a ton of assistant, and I'm probably there now myself, but I've always been a big assistant guy. I'm gonna hit triceps hard. I'm gonna hit back hard every day, every bench day. So I'm gonna hit them 3 days a week. I'm gonna bench. Um, I tried the West Side stuff back in the day, and I didn't have a whole lot of success with it. I felt that I wasn't coming off the chest enough. And I think Coach Bill's on to something. People say, I missed it lockout. I missed it lockout. Must be the triceps. Must be the triceps. I got to hit more board work, and then nothing equates and don't help. Well, your problem might be you don't have enough speed off the bottom. Just the speed off the bottom you need to follow through, to hit that top end and go through that sticking point. So I've always had success. I think the more I benched, from the chest up, seemed like it's helped a lot through the years. I like to come off the chest a lot. And board work, yeah, a little bit in shirts, just because I couldn't touch in some of the tight shirts. The only reason I did a whole lot of board work, and it's caught up to me some because I'd be kind of sloppy in the bottom once I put the shirt on. So I don't really believe in that a whole lot. I mean, it's okay to do every once in a while just to overload, but it's probably overused, I think. I mean, some people have success with it, but I think if you can get it down there low, like you compete, touch your chest, you're better off, because it's just, I found that, I could get down to an inch from my chest and just struggle to get it meet and just expect to be clean down there at last inch and be sloppy as could be, and, dump the weight, throw it over my head, and stuff like that. So I think the more you can touch in the shirt and work the shirt, the better. Like I said, yeah, I definitely believe in assistant work, dips, and heavy tricep work, a lot of back work, rows, and your typical back stuff, pull-ups. Coach Bill's big on the pull-ups, and actually I found a lot of success with like high rep tricep stuff also. I think it depends where you're at kind of sometimes, but yeah, pretty much. It's always, hitting the bench every day I lift. Like I said, if it was up to me and my work schedule wasn't like it was, it would probably be 4 days a week. Not all heavy, but just getting used to that. I think the more you do something, the better you're going to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've tried everything over the years. I think like Coach Bill's heavy duty. It's kind of like a progressive overload over time. We do some ones and fours, and Duncan's been doing it too for a while. He swears by it. Lucas, the guy I train with, we all have had good luck on it. If you just follow it, basically, you just got to follow it and put in the work.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a ton of. I mean, that's amazing in what like some of these raw guys are doing now. Like the coaching has come a long ways, and especially in that IPF. It's a big deal. People pay big money, and it's not like just lifters like it used to be. Like these guys are like I don't know if you've seen some of them today, if you watched Sheffield or not, but they all have like personal coaches, like high end coaches, not just guys that lifted. There's nothing wrong with guys that just lift, because I got one of the best of all time in my corner, Coach Bill. I was just fortunate enough to have him close by. It's at a whole different level nowadays. Some of these coaches, like I said, there's actually money to be made in coaching, but these guys are everyone at basically all the top raw guys have a personal coach nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's definitely crazy.
Worked. I stick with what worked, and different things worked over the years. If once a big meet coming up, it's Coach Bill's program. I'll flirt around with other things when nothing's, just something new and something different, just to get something different in. Yeah, if I'm going over in Europe or something and lifting, I'm on some sort of Coach Bill's program with some of my assistant stuff mixed in with it.
Yep. And as far as like the life cycle of a bench shirt, right? Because I've seen some people, like you got Bryce over at Calgary Barbell. He'll do sets of 5 in his equipment, whether it's the deadlift suit, the squat suit, or the bench shirt. Some people say, hey, maybe don't touch so much in the shirt in training. Maybe try to expand on the life cycle of the shirt, because you only have so many touches, right? Eventually every piece of equipment is going to wear out at some point and have diminishing return. So for you, how many times are you actually touching in your shirt, and how many times a week are you getting in your shirt, and what traditionally for you have you seen as kind of like the life cycle of a shirt?
Well, see, it's where I've had a big advantage over some people is with tightening my corner. It's like, and I tell my guys, like, don't lift in your competition shirt very often at all. I mean, have one similar, somewhat similar, because you're right. Yeah, over time, if that sleeve gets a little loose or it gets a little chest, stretched a little bit, it's not the same shirt. So what I would have is I had my go-to shirts for the meets. Then what I would do is wear my other shirts, training shirts for training. And then when I would get out, maybe a month or two out from the meet, I'd throw on my competition shirt, and then I would use it. But I wouldn't touch much. I mean, I would touch just a couple times in it. But by that time, after a couple meets, you knew where you was at in the shirt if you stayed the same body weight. That's the problem I ran into is when I moved up a weight class and I dropped down a big weight class and I moved back in between weight classes, and then it gets bad because, yeah, then you're trying to figure out what shirt works best. I've been so fortunate to have as many shirts as I want, basically, but they're all different. Like over the years, I've had like 4 or 5 shirts, like they were just somehow different. And all of mine's custom typically, but you can get one shirt and they're never exactly the same. I've been lifting, like I said, for that long, and I've had like 4 or 5 shirts. I wish I could replicate them, but you just can't. I don't know if you've ran into that yet, but there's some shirts that just you'll run into just fit great. It's hard to find. Yep. I got a bunch in there now. It's just don't. I hadn't found a perfect one for this body weight, really. I mean, I missed 765 or whatever, 763, whatever it was, barely at Costa Rica or Panama this year. So it's really close. But still, that shirt didn't quite feel right in the bottom. Not like the 5 I was talking about. Yeah, ideally, if you can get a couple shirts or get one, if money's tight or something like that, get it off of, eBay or something. Somewhat similar to what you got. You want it somewhat close. I mean, that's the main thing, get it somewhat close. But I know I help all my, like Duncan and Lucas and Paul. I try to help all these dudes out. I got a bunch of old shirts that's really pretty much new. But, I try to give back, help those guys out. And that's one thing we're going to do coming up in February is I'll get loose shirt. Well, I'll get in a loose shirt, and we're going to try to tweak around and mess with the shirts, the sleeves, and torquing the sleeves and chest, and just seeing what we can get out of a loose shirt. That way, we know when we get in a tighter shirt, we know what to kind of go with. Because right now, I don't do anything special. I mean, I don't torque the sleeves or nothing. I don't torque them. I just pull the sleeve down a little bit. I like the sleeve basically at my elbow, into my sleeve right at the end of the elbow, pull down the neck a little bit. But that's one thing I've had so much luck, I hadn't really messed with it. But like I said, between the sleep study and different things, and this is like the next thing I want to do, because it's like you got to constant trying to figure out what might work best. Yeah, actually Duncan started talking about that one night when he was here and was like, yeah, that's something we need to mess around with. But getting these tight shirts, you can't really do that. So we got, I'm going to use that 52 shirt and just see how much I can get, like range I can get out of that shirt. Can I get, 660 to 700 out of an old loose shirt, or can I get it where 700 will touch, but I can touch 650, because a lot of times, a lot of my shirts now are just so tight. I need, quite a bit of weight on there, which is ideal when I go to Europe. When you need to lift big weights, you need those shirts. But like Nashville this year, I wore like a 52, and I like to manipulate the shirts a little bit more instead of throwing them on tight and just seeing what I could do. Like I said, it's work, but there's always stuff to learn out there. I talked to Jimmy about it a little bit. I've talked to some of the good guys over the years. I've talked to a lot of the guys about the shirts, and I've seen guys like Mike Hara, I think he used to put on a shirt like 2 weeks before, 2 or 3 weeks, one time before he'd go overseas, and he's like one of the best lifters ever in the U.S. So that
Yeah.
worked great for him. He knew his shirts. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Know your competition shirt at what body weight, and you're fine. But it's got to be at competition body weight, and you got to know that shirt.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're not, I'm sure most people like me, I train like 5 pounds heavy. Like typically, in 205 class, I'm usually walking around 210, 211, 212.
Yeah.
So ideally, I want to know what my shirt feels like at 203, 204. And if I haven't enough meat, I know exactly how those shirts fit. My body weight's been fluctuating lately, so I'll go one meet 220, then one meet 215. I did a meet at 93 or 205. So I've been all over. And I mean, I've hit some okay numbers, but yeah, we're working on that. That's a good question. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you need to touch, but yeah, there's only so many touches you can get in your competition shirt, and it just don't have a pop anymore.
Yeah.
If you don't have pop, you're not gonna have, you're not gonna hit your big weights. Those sleeves get a little bit loose.
Yeah.
If they get a little loose and it loses that pop, you're not gonna hit that high end weight you want.
Yep.
And
And as far as like you say, I mean, you work swing shift, which is crazy. I mean, that's a crazy shift to work, and then also balancing like the family life on top of that and whatnot. How do you, outside of the sport, and kind of like what kind of hobbies do you have to keep you kind of like grounded, keep you kind of mellow, like all that kind of stuff? Like we all have hobbies outside of the sport. What do you like to do outside of powerlifting?
yeah, me and my wife, we just luckily just love to be around each other. So we chill a lot, just chill out. If we're hanging out together, we're good typically. But yeah, we like to camp. We got like a fifth wheel camper. So vacation, usually we're pulling that somewhere and camping. We kind of live out in the country, so we got a big yard and love to cook out. I've really gotten into smoking food. It's like I'm like really addicted to that. Like I didn't know if I'd ever find anything like powerlifting or bench pressing, but I'm really into that. Like if you look at my YouTube history, it's more like smoking meats and stuff like that. So I've really gotten into that really big time. So we went all the way down to Alabama to pick up and I live in Virginia, to pick up a smoker, like an actual wood smoker. So I love cutting wood now, which I never did, never really cut a whole lot of wood, but I cut wood for that smoker, and we do like briskets and ribs and all that Texas style barbecuing. So yeah, good question. The guys came up here, and anytime I get a chance to do it, I love doing it. I'll cut wood, and I'll sit beside that thing for 12, 14, 15 hours for a brisket. So yeah, I'm pretty much addicted to that, and it's pretty neat. I compare it to lifting, because it's I want to be really good at it. It's like, so the recipe is kind of like the program, I feel. So you mess around with the recipes, you mess around with the program to make a better bench, you mess around the recipes to make better food. And when we was out in Texas lifting at nationals, we went to we typically go to all these barbecue places, because I want to compare myself to that. Like I said, that's just kind of how I'm wired. I want to compare myself to Texas barbecue, which could be tough, when you're comparing yourself to the best starting out. Yeah, those guys, they come down and lift with me. I try to usually cook them something up. My wife usually cooks a big dessert, and we have a great time. And yes, that's really what I'm into. I love to, just like I said, camp, hang out with my wife, and just grill out. Like right now, it's winter here. We got a ton of ice the other day and stuff like that. So, not a big winter person, to be honest.
Yeah.
Thank God I lift. I can lift here, so it's I'm not big on skiing or anything like that. Really, it's that time of year, short daylight hours, and just kind of lift and hang out at the house. And if it's weather's halfway decent, I still get out, and we still grill out in the winter time sometimes, and smoke food and all that good stuff. Yeah, so I think I love to fish and stuff when we're camping. But really, like I said, I've had a ton of support from my family all these years. We just got a heck of a team like behind me. So I don't golf. I don't hang out with the guys a ton. When we hang out here at the basement lifting, pretty much. And like I said, I used to run down, see Lucas some, and the guys down Liberty and stuff like that. But Yeah, I try to do all I can with my family. Um, Unfortunately, like mom and dad, they live, hour and a half from me, so I don't get up there as much as I would like to. 12-hour shifts and lifting and all the other stuff. I'm kind of a homebody, other than when I travel and we camp and stuff like that. I just like to chill out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I
Yeah.
think I've heard of quite a few lifters just like, man, I'm just a boring person, but it takes
Yeah.
it takes that much time and effort. You don't want to do a whole lot of other stuff. I don't golf, like I said, I don't golf or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watch a little bit of basketball, a little bit of football, TV, but I don't watch a ton of it. Usually
Yeah.
this time of year, I'll watch it, of course. But yeah, pretty simple dude.
Yeah.
Work and family, basically. And I love my dogs. I heard you had a dog. I got two. I got two English staffies. A little bit look like little pit bulls, basically, a little miniature. What they look like.
Yeah.
I always wanted a dog that looked like a power lifter, and they're perfect. Because I'm like 5'6". I'm 5'6", 220. So
Yep.
yeah, they
Yep.
look just like me, pretty much. Little short thing,
Yeah, dude.
muscles. We love our dogs, and I got a son. Logan's 23. Actually, he's like stepdaughter, like 30, 31 now. It's like two grandsons. They come over sometimes and lift with me. Yeah, I'm a family dude. I don't get out and carry on much. It's usually just hanging out at the house and camping and stuff like that. Pretty laid back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dogs are, man. My dog is my life. So
I get it.
he is everything. I got a pug, so
Okay.
he's pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm right there in the camp with you, man. I'm 5'6", 218. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
we're twins.
right there the same. So yeah, yeah. So now I got this little dude, man. He can't breathe. I can't breathe. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to touch on before I let you go here is a piece of advice for the younger lifters that want to stay in the game for a really long time, and just your level of commitment and longevity to the sport, how you stay motivated, just is kind of what the note that I wanted to leave on here, because you've been in the sport for so long, you've accomplished so many great things, and despite having to wear many hats, right? I mean, you got work, you're a father, you're a husband. I mean, you wear a lot of different hats, so leave the people with how you're able to perform at this level, and how you've been able to perform at this level for so long despite having so many variables outside of the sport.
Yeah, man, that's a real good question. Well, first of all, I mean, I've been blessed with the family I got behind me. Like, if I didn't have, like, my wife is just, I mean, I couldn't ask for the support, man. It's just unbelievable. And if my dad, the rest of my family, I mean, that's the big part. Finding someone, and that's not easy. Like, the time I put into this stuff, I put a lot of time into it. I put a lot of time into work, and she's doing it. A lot of times she's doing stuff that, a typical guy should be doing. But she's all in. She's been all in for 26 years. It still don't give me much trouble about it. But so when you're young, you don't. But at some point, find you whatever your partner. Find a good partner, because that's huge. I mean, that's a big part of it. Because I mean, to be honest, you do have to be a little selfish to get at this level. I mean, to be straight up honest about it, you got to put a lot of time in. You got to put yourself first a lot of times.
So unfortunately, I had a little bit of technical difficulties there. Unfortunately, these things happen. The last 3 episodes have ran into some technical difficulties. So I just wanted to wrap up what Adam was saying. He was valuing the importance of family and how truly important it is to have a robust support system in a sport that demands so much. I encourage you to follow Adam Mamola on Instagram at AMAMOLA77. That's AMAMOLA77 on Instagram. Give him a follow. He doesn't really post much, but I want to extend my deepest thank you to Adam for joining the podcast. And also, thank you to Mr. Duncan Hundley, the elusive monster himself, for the suggestion. I highly appreciate it. And if you have not listened to my episode with the elusive monster, Duncan Hundley, go check it out. One of the strongest people that you've probably never heard of.